As you've probably heard, CBS is canceling the top-rated Late Show with Stephen Colbert. The announcement came 3 days after Colbert criticized the settlement of President Trump's lawsuit against Paramount, the parent of CBS, as a bribe. Paramount says there is no connection between what Colbert said and the cancellation. Here's Jim Axelrod.
The audience was stunned by Stephen Colbert's announcement.
Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May. And
stunned and not happy.
yeah, I share your feelings. It's not just the end of our show, but it's the end of The Late Show on CBS. I'm not being replaced. This is all just going away.
Paramount, the parent corporation of CBS, said the decision to cancel the top-rated late-night comedy show was strictly dollars and cents. This is a purely financial decision against a challenging backdrop in late night. It is not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount.
This is going to be a rough ride for some people.
The challenging backdrop in late night was a reference to a shrinking audience and revenues for late-night comedy.
It's Johnny.
While Johnny Carson delivered 15 million viewers or more each night by himself as the king of late night half a century ago, all three network late shows now total less than 6 million viewers combined.
You know, while I make a lot of jokes about the president,
He's been a strong and frequent critic of President Trump. At the start of this week, he also targeted Paramount for its $16 million settlement of a lawsuit Mr. Trump filed against CBS News.
Now, I believe this kind of complicated financial settlement with a sitting government official has a technical name in legal circles. It's big fat bribe. Because this all comes as Paramount's owners are trying to get the Trump administration to approve the sale of our network to a new owner, Skydance.
President Trump didn't miss the chance to celebrate the news. I absolutely love that Colbert got fired, he posted. His talent was even less than his ratings. As for Stephen Colbert, he isn't going anywhere right away. He told his audience last night he's looking forward to doing his job for another 10 months. In his words, it's going to be fun.
Jim Axelrod, thank you.
Let's be so for real. CBS canceled Stephen Colbert's The Late Show because Stephen Colbert is objectively not funny anymore. And he used to be. Back in the day, I remember watching him myself back in the 2010 through 2015 era. But of course, like most late night comics did, he pivoted and became just completely anti-Trump, anti-Republican, always making jokes at his expense time and time again. And people got really tired of it. CBS said it was for financial reasons, even though Elizabeth Warren and Adam Schiff are trying to imply that, oh, it had something to do with political motivations, because CBS's parent company, Paramount, actually just got to a settlement with Trump because of how they edited deceptively an interview they did with Kamala Harris during the campaign cycle. And make no mistake, Stephen Colbert is a left-wing mouthpiece. That's part of the reason why even individuals like Jimmy Kimmel are going so hard right now and complaining, because guess what? Now Jimmy Kimmel has to carry twice the water, because that's all these late-night comedians have become. It's just anti-Trump, left-wing mouthpieces. And they're panicking now because companies are starting to realize that being anti-Trump is simply a failing business model. You've seen it happen time and time again. Stephen Colbert's latest example of what happens when you make that the core of your identity. So those are my thoughts, and I'm curious what yours might be.
So CBS is pulling the plug on Stephen Colbert. I'm seeing all these sad reactions online from people who didn't actually watch Colbert, but liked the idea that it was on. And it's like, are we that surprised this is going away? Who's the demographic for these talk shows anyways? It's like old people who are watching TV at midnight. Does that sound sustainable? If there's one thing we've learned about network TV, it's that it's only good for one thing, which is sports. So that's what CBS should do if they want to recover in the ratings. Late night football. Every night, a new city in one of those Texas towns where they take football seriously, like Friday Night Lights or whatever, and just show that. Don't even film it good. Just film it from like the stands, so everything's all diagonal, and like the camera starts shaking when someone scores a touchdown because it's someone's mom who's filming. That would be something people would watch. And then every once in a while you can have John Cena pop on and promote whatever bullshit movie he's in now.
All right, I got to do a real quick rant on Stephen Colbert being fired on CBS Late Show. Everyone's still talking about it. But before we do that, I want a moment for this backdrop as I film this, all right? Because it's that spectacular. I'll let the color adjust, but a moment for the backdrop, please. That's what I'm talking about. I don't care, Ma'am Donnie. I don't care, Bernie. Being rich still is the best fucking thing, and I earned it. Anyways, on to this rant. So I run a media company, obviously, Barstool. So this kind of hit home with me. I'm seeing like Bernie Sanders, Comrade Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, all being like, we need an investigation. This is bribery. This is blackmail. CBS only fired Colbert because he criticizes Trump, and they just settled a $16 million lawsuit. And then Colbert went on the air and said he doesn't trust CBS and blah, 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 blah. Like Trump forced this. And then the stats start coming out. Colbert makes $16 million a year. The Late Show with Colbert loses $40 to $50 million a year. They have a staff of 200 people. Late night ratings are down across the board. He's still got the best ratings of like him, Kimmel, and Fallon, but across the board, they're down. So all these shows presumably getting hammered. Now, I'm old enough where like late night means something to me. My dad has every episode of David Letterman on like VH1. So when I got invited to go on Fallon this week, like my parents came and they were impressed, and they're impressed by nothing. I told them, like, you guys have never cared I've been on anything. I've been on Rogan's podcast, Theo Vaughn, Alex Cooper, Shannon Sharp, all podcasts that are far more influential, reach way more people than late night at this day and age. But for these people, including like Colbert, to be like, this isn't really right, that we're blindsided, buddy, you're losing $40 million a year. You have 200 people creating one show. We have 200 people at Barstool, content creators, creating like 30 shows. And some of them, the bigger ones, draw a bigger audience than Colbert. So like, what are we talking about? And then you compound that with Colbert openly going on air, being like, I don't trust CBS. This relationship can never be repaired. I can't believe they bowed or paid that lawsuit to Trump. If one of my employees, who I was paying $16 million a year while losing $40 million a year, went on their show and was like, I don't like Dave. I don't trust Dave. You know what I would do? Like, welcome to the real fucking world. Yeah, Trump's happy, and this isn't about his politics. I don't love Colbert. I don't think he's funny. I thought he was funny when he was on Comedy Central. I haven't liked him on his Daily Show. But, buddy, you're losing $40 million a year, and then you have the arrogance to go hammer your own company. What did you think was going to happen? Of course they'd fire. I'd fire you in a fucking heartbeat. That's not politics. That's just being ungrateful and see you later. So Elizabeth Warren, Comrade Bernie, like, zip it. This is called capitalism in the real world. You're losing $40 million a year. You better shut up and be a good soldier and thank your lucky stars you still have a job.
Stephen Colbert's show has been canceled. It's great. Great news, is it not?
This is incredible on so many levels, and I'm going to column on this for the Mail. But so I was reading. There's this this is such a New York Times way to cover it. So they talked to this guy in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, who was out having dinner and got the alert on his phone that the Colbert Show has been canceled, and he sprung up like he was Batman getting the bat signal, and got on the subway and rode it right up to the Ed Sullivan Theater to mourn with Colbert's like 3 other fans up there. It's amazing. It says everything about the irrelevance of this show.
That is amazing. And let me tell you something else. This just hit from reporter Matt Bellany, founding partner of Puck News, and formerly Hollywood Reporter. The timing and optics, he says, are terrible for the Colbert cancellation. Not true, not true, not true. The timing and optics are perfect. Only leftists think that the timing and optics are terrible because they think somehow this was retaliatory because Stephen Colbert was ripping on CBS for entering into that $16 million settlement with Donald Trump, who was suing them over the 60 Minutes Kamala Harris interview and the edited clips, claiming it was a deceptive practice under Texas law. So they settled the case for $16 million because, frankly, it's obvious. They have a merger going on right now where their parent company, Paramount, is trying to sell itself to Skydance. And they need approval by Trump's FCC. And the belief is that they just paid what to them is a drop in the bucket to make Trump go away on this lawsuit. Okay, fine. Well, Colbert went out there and cried. Do we have him ripping on it? I don't think we have that. But anyway, he went on there recently and he ripped on his own employer for this settlement. And that's why the left is like, oh, the optics are terrible. Like this was clearly just like they fired Colbert to satisfy Trump. Number one, if that's true, you can put another feather in Trump's cap for doing something great and making America great again. Okay. Number two, there's zero proof to that effect whatsoever. And Sherry Redstone, who is the head of CBS, has known that Colbert is a chief Trump antagonist and that Trump hates Colbert since the beginning of Colbert and Trump as, dual public figures, and has not fired Colbert, has renewed him time and time again, including recently for a 3-year deal when she must have known this merger was in the works. So it doesn't make sense to me, but here's why I raised the Matt Bellany report here. It's not for his prelude, with which I disagree. He says, but he says Colbert's show costs more than $100 million a year to produce and is losing more than $40 million a year. That's unbelievable.
Dave Portnoy just called out Stephen Colbert. Give it a watch.
Buddy, you're losing $40 million a year. You have 200 people creating one show. We have 200 people at Barstool, content creators, creating like 30 shows. The bigger ones draw a bigger audience than Colbert. If one of my employees, who I was paying $16 million a year while losing $40 million a year, went on their show and was like, I don't like Dave. I don't trust Dave. You know what I would do? Welcome to the real fucking world.
Turns out it was true. CBS did cancel this as a financial decision. They're losing $40 to $50 million a year. Somehow paying him a $16 million salary. Gotta love Elizabeth Warren, who claimed to be Native American, by the way, coming out and supporting Colbert after he called out the parent company for paying a lawsuit because they manipulated the interview and cut it up to make Kamala Harris look more favorable. And a lot of companies are learning that if they go woke, they go broke, because Pixar, a movie called Elio, where it was supposed to depict an LGBTQ character, boy is the main character. They spent $150 to $200 million producing it. It only did $25 million at the box office its first week.
Stephen Colbert has 10 months to pull off what could be the greatest troll of all time. Stephen Colbert announced that CBS was canceling Late Night, not firing him, but getting rid of a show that has existed since 1993. And a lot of people found this a little disturbing because Stephen Colbert has been one of the more vocal critics of Donald Trump. And Paramount, the company that owns CBS, is currently trying to get federal approval for a merger with a company called Skydance. And you might not know this, but Donald Trump is in charge of the executive branch of the federal government, and he carries grudges. And that's led many to assume that this firing might have been an offering to Donald Trump to get that approval. Now, for its part, CBS is saying, no, this wasn't a political decision, it was a financial decision. The Late Show's losing a bunch of money, late night shows aren't what they used to be, and we did this purely for economic reasons. Which is what you would say if you're doing it for economic reasons, but it's also what you would say if you're doing it for political reasons, but you didn't want anybody to know that. Either way, Stephen Colbert currently has 10 months to do his show unfettered. He basically has a senior year, and this is what he ought to do. Bring back the Colbert Report. For 10 years, Stephen Colbert did a perfect satiric impression of a Fox News anchor, to the point where if you weren't in on the joke, you might not necessarily know it was a joke. And Donald Trump is not known for being in on the joke. So Colbert should announce in character that he has seen the light and now loves Donald Trump, and do 10 months of that character the same way he did in the 2000s. Guys, there is a non-zero chance that Donald Trump will see this, not realize it's a joke, and then start to call for CBS to reinstate Stephen Colbert. If he does this properly, Stephen Colbert could pull off the greatest troll in American history, and he needs to do it. And he should also have me on a show to do stand-up. I mean, it's only fair. I gave him this great idea. Come on, put me on the show, Steve.
Breaking news, Stephen Colbert had the most watched late night show on network television, but CBS just pulled the plug, and the timing really raises some serious questions. The official reason was cost cutting, but Colbert was still outrating his competition and bringing in millions of YouTube views nightly. So this wasn't a flop, this was a powerhouse move. So why end it now? I mean, here's what changed. Paramount Global, which owns CBS, is in final talks to be taken over by Skydance, a company run by David Ellison, who's the son of Oracle billionaire Larry Ellison. Colbert called them out on air by name and mocked the merger directly in July, even danced to emphasize it. And he didn't stop there. He also questioned why Paramount paid Donald Trump $16 million to settle a lawsuit just weeks before the deal moved forward. Colbert has been one of Trump's most relentless critics on television, and now, with Trump back in power and a political connected company about to buy CBS, the criticism may have become a liability. So this wasn't about ratings, and it sure as heck was not about money. This was about a corporate silencing dressed up as a budget cut. And let's be real, no one is buying it. Okay, my name is Jared Zisser. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Substack for all breaking news, all updates, and the full story.
Just in case you didn't know, Stephen Colbert's show is the #1 show in late night TV, period. It's the #1. And CBS said they canceled it because of costs, which doesn't make any fucking sense. If it's making all that money, then why would they cancel him? Could it be because Colbert criticized the $16 million payout by Paramount to settle Donald Trump's lawsuit over a 60-minute segment? He called it a big fat bribe and suggested it may have been politically motivated. And he obviously wasn't wrong. 3 days later, he was told that his show is getting canceled. Now his show is officially ends of May of 2026. But this is what they did first in Germany. They silenced the journalists. They silenced the intelligent people, the ones that were morally correct. They silenced them. So anyway, that's that. Oh, one more thing. If you're still supporting Trump, you are the PDF file group. Okay, that's you now. You need t-shirts. You need t-shirts that say that, because that's your group now.
Oh, so CBS is canceling Stephen Colbert. I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that they're trying to sell the company and need approval from the Trump administration.